Hello, how are you guys doing? I'm, he has been sitting on my lap getting brushed this whole time, and then he decides to get up. And I would let him sort of run amok, but there's candles. And so let me know if you can hear me and see me okay. Poof. Okay, if you're gonna get on the table, I have to put you down. Oh, I love you. Oh my gosh. Hello, hello. Okay. Got cat hair on me now. Let me make sure I can hear you. Let's see. We can see and hear you. Let me tell you a funny story. The last, I want to say maybe it was the last 2 live streams we've done, so November and December, we had issues with. And they caught, when you have issues with a live stream, it causes me like a full-blown like panic attack. And we actually had to cancel one of our live streams last month and reschedule it, which was the first time we've had to do that in like, I think the 5 years we've been doing this. So we went out and got brand new cameras. These are the first new cameras we've gotten since we started doing this. And they look so crisp and clear. And we filmed this month's episode with them. Oh, wait, by the way, hello, hi. I'm getting lost. Alla is from upstate New York. Hello, I forgot one of my favorite parts of these live streams is saying, okay, so let's see. Kelly, is it Kelly or Kel from Phoenix? Hello. Okay. DKNY from New Jersey. Hello. I was just seeing something about New Jersey. Now I can't remember what it was. Hello from New Hampshire. Melissa, I love New Hampshire. I've only been one time, and I stayed at a bed and breakfast with my mom, and it was probably the most beautiful place I've ever stayed. It was right around Halloween time too, so. Oh, by the way, in case anyone is watching this on Patreon and commenting on that post, if you click on the actual video that takes you to YouTube, you'll be able to comment and I'll be able to see the comments in real time on YouTube. Let's see, Brenda, is it Brandy? It's from Colorado. So I just did some eye drops and the lights are all hitting me and it's blurring my vision a little tiny bit. Oh my gosh, let's see. Amanda is in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. Hello, Amanda. This is so fun. I can talk a little bit about, so the last live stream was a craft along and I was so kind of overwhelmed with, is the computer going to work? Is all of the equipment going to go how it's supposed to, in addition to actually doing a craft, that I didn't get to talk and say all of the things that I was excited to chat about. And so not only do I have an entire month's worth of things to chat about from there, but I have this entire month's worth to chat about. So first things first, let's make some tea. I need a really quick, who made the cookies? And you can lie, I don't mind. The reason I ask is because I'm gonna do a question. Oh my gosh, Poof, I love you. But he has haired me. I don't think that's the right word. Ellen is in Scotland. Ellen, thank you so much for staying up. Okay. Oh, we made yours gluten-free. I bet you could do that. I just don't know how. I'm going to tell you how I came up with this recipe is actually a very funny story. Okay. Oh, yay. Okay. Natalia, you got the Christmas gift. I'm so happy you like it. So if you've received the gift, they're still being shipped. So like they're on the way and you haven't gotten yours yet. It's really beautiful this year. It's a painting by Paul Mann, who's done another painting for me before. And he's so wonderful. And I kind of vaguely, because he told me, he was like, I had so much fun doing that other one. If you ever want something else, let me know. And so I said, I kind of floated this idea past him. And what he came back with was just like so much better than I was even expecting. Poof, I have to keep a hawk's eye on you. So I've mentioned Poof is flammable. And I have found this out a scary way. He was never hurt, but oh, are you talking to people? Okay. So you have to like watch his tail Normally I just don't leave candles on around him. He was on a kitchen counter. My mom was over and we were talking about something and I had a candle, like a scented candle just on the kitchen island, and we have it on camera, and he walked past and he just the end of his tail lit up like a candle, and my mom was like lightning fast, got it out, and I just almost had a heart attack. Poof. Okay, luckily he's licking the cookie, but I have more of them. Okay. Professor Poof. He is kind of the star of this month's episode. Who wants to see a sneak peek at this month's episode? It's a silly craft project, but I have a long story. I'll talk about it in the actual episode, but I made 2 of something and I can show you the first one. I usually don't like spoiling a surprise, like if it's something kind of fun and silly. But in this instance, if you're here, you probably wouldn't mind seeing what it's gonna be. So there's 2. One is good and one is bad, and I'm going to show you the good one, like the nice one. And so, look at this. So it is a 3-dimensional little, I wouldn't call it a stuffed animal. I actually don't know what you'd call it, but it hangs on the it hangs on a curtain. And so we're going to show how to make, and you can make these of your own pets. You can make them as gifts for other people who have pets, maybe even someone who's lost a pet that they really loved. It is so fun. I made something kind of vaguely similar to this and never posted about it, maybe like 10 years ago. And I loved it so much, but I gave it to my mom. And so I made a sweet poof and a bad poof. And this is the sweet poof. Look at his little paw. I love it so much. It's one of, I'm really jazzed about it. Do you guys like that? Okay, let's see. Magdalena says, hello, Christine. Hello, Magdalena, who has the most beautiful name on earth. I hope I'm pronouncing it or giving it justice. Okay. Poof is looking at the flame. He used to call him Kamikaze Poof when he was little because he would try to jump at the fireplace, and we had to have a whole like screen that he could not infiltrate. He made me very nervous. Okay, so let's make some tea. So I put my tea bag in my cup. I like Poof is just sort of showing himself off. Some hot water in here. Let me tell you the story of how I came up with this recipe. So for Christmas, we did like something really low key with just the captive and I and the family of pets. And I wanted sugar cookies and I wanted gingerbread men because that's for me, it's not for you. I wanted gingerbread cookies just because I like having cookies around the house during Christmas. And whoa, no. Don't. Can you guys still hear and see me okay? Because he wanted to. I'm hoping he'll get down. He'll lose interest. Poof. Here, we're going to go down where you're not going to catch on fire. Oh, by the way, I know I'm getting sidetracked. I'm going to get back to the cookies. What do you think of this nightgown? My friend Nina Kate, who I love, got it for me for Christmas. And it is by a designer named Catherine Delish, and it's Catherine with a C. She's a good friend of Dita Von Teese's, and I've like followed her. She's followed me for years. I love her, and I've wanted one of these robes for so long. And I got this amazing box, and look at how fun this is. So she does one with like I think marabou fur, something like that, but I would want one without that. And so Nina is also plant-based, and so she got me this, and look at how dramatic I get to be. I've just been kind of like walking around ever since. It's very fun. Okay, cookies. Melissa, hello from LA. Melissa, is your house okay? I have a whole LA story I'm going to get into. Like I said, I've got a lot to chat about. So the cookies, how I came up with this recipe. So I went to go make the cookies and I realized I didn't have any molasses. And all I had was like dark corn syrup, and it was too late to go get something. The stores were closed. And so I was like, well, I guess I can just start experimenting. And I kind of wanted to fiddle around with a plant-based gingerbread cookie recipe anyway. And so I sort of winged it a little bit, and I made these cookies, which, by the way, my friend Lynn collects biscuit jars, and she sort of turned me on to them, and that's why I've got several biscuit jars here. And so anyway, I made these gingerbread cookies, and I tried to eat them, and they are like rocks. They are so hard. And I was like, I guess if they look perfect, like I don't know what to do with them now. I tried dipping them in cold milk, nothing. And so I just sort of left them in the oven for a few days, just kind of like sitting in there. And, oh wait, hold on, let's see. I'm gonna keep telling my story, otherwise I'm gonna keep getting distracted. So anyway, a couple days passed and I was like, I had made some tea and I was like, well, I wonder if hot liquid would soften them up. So I started breaking it into pieces and dipping it in the tea. Oh my gosh, it tasted so, so good. And all of a sudden, like a light bulb went off that like you can make an insanely delicious cookie that you can only eat by dipping in hot tea. But if you make a gingerbread house with this, it will be virtually indestructible. So I will find out if that's true, hopefully later this year towards Christmas time. But now I have a recipe that I actually keep making it because I keep eating them all, because I keep having them with my tea, and it's like the perfect like breakfast snack, and it's been wonderful. So if you haven't made them, oh my gosh, make them, but only unless you want to break your teeth or your teeth are made out of like steel or something. Definitely dip them in tea. I'll show you how. So let me show you how hard these are. Oh, okay. It should have looked a little more difficult than that. They're very, very tough. Just use the cement in the cookie. Okay, I'm gonna do, so then you just take the cookies, you've gotta let them soak a little tiny bit. And I don't put any like sweetener or cream in the tea because this kind of balances it out. Let's see. Nisa says, use those hard gingerbread cookies as throwing objects. Like they could honestly, if you cut them out with traditional like snowflake, they could be used as, it's not throwing darts. Ninja stars? I think that's it. I don't know if that's what you actually call them. Okay, let's see. Now they're perfectly soft. I may have soaked that a little too long. Throwing stars. Anyway, those are so good. And the fact that they're kind of like a process to eat makes it so that you don't eat a ton of them, which is kind of wonderful. Okay, does anyone have any questions before I keep blathering on? Shrunken cookies, I like that. Did you guys like the shrunken heads? I bet we talked about that. Yes, we did, because Kelly Skelly, we already announced that she won little Ingrid. I'm going to be packing hers up, I think, within this next week and sending that off. I got my gift the other day, phenomenal. Oh, I'm so happy. It's absolute. So the gift is bigger this year. I should mention that. I had it printed on. I did a test of like a movie size poster, and then I had a test of it printed on pretty large canvas. And the captive said the canvas seemed a little bit like fancier. It's a lot pricier, but it like looks and is like a lot more sort of luxurious. And so, but it's much bigger than ones I've done in the past, but it's got like I'll be posting it once I'm sure everybody's gotten theirs. Let's see. I would love it if you make a t-shirt for us all. I want to do that. That is on my list of things to do. And speaking of list of things to do, I have never done this in the whole time that we've been doing this Patreon. I started a few, maybe like a month or so ago, a little more. I started making a list of project ideas. And every time a new project would sort of come to my mind, I type it into the list. That list has very quickly gotten pretty long. And if you're in the top tier, I actually posted an early version of that list. But would you guys like me to read you a couple of the things that are on it? Because I can pull it up pretty quickly on my phone. Oh, Melissa, I think that's like a great idea. Oh, Tim, you're going to love it. I promise. It's one of my favorites that we've done so far. And it's a type of print, and I want to do something three-dimensional this coming year. So cross your fingers that I can figure out something and have it produced in time. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek at a few of the things that are, and this is like it's a little bit of a inspirational. So maybe I get to a bunch of them. Okay, so episode ideas. I bet I have about 35 episode ideas in here so far. I'm going to make a vintage bathing suit. I found a vintage bathing suit designer that I didn't even realize I had several of them. And so I want to construct, and the coolest thing about that is I can give you the pattern and you can just adjust it for your size. And we can all have awesome swimsuits this coming summer. So that's very exciting. Let's see. I'm going to be doing an urn for my friend. She lost her little kitty, and I've been meaning to do it for like a year. And I'm finally buckling down and I am getting that done. And let's see. I don't want to give away too much because there's some really fun stuff in here. I want to do make my own mailbox. I'm going to do an oil painting of the captive within the next few months, I hope, of him looking like a rugged old sea captain from kind of like the Ghost and Mrs. Muir. It's going to be a big, actual oil painting that will be hanging up in the house. So I'm super jazzed about that. Let's see. Some of them I don't want to give away because, do you guys know what a zoetrope is? It's one of those, they featured one in Sleepy Hollow where it's like silhouettes are cut out and there's a light and the thing spins and it sets something off around the room and it makes it look like things are happening. So I actually want to get into making something like that. And let's see, like I said, I don't want to, some of these I'm like, don't give that away. Don't give that away. I want to make my own stationery. And one of the reasons I haven't sent out, because I'm sending something special to everybody who contributed and sent something in for that voodoo doll contest that we did. I still have everything. And I've been wanting to make my own stationery so that I could write something special to each and every person who sent something in, which is why it's taken me so long to get to, because I have big ideas and I just don't want to do anything that's sort of like impersonal. So that's my reason for taking so long on that. I don't want to keep giving them away because they're really fun. I've gotten so many that I'm like, don't say that. No, I don't want to say that one either. This is a terrible thing to bring up if I'm not, okay. I'm going to do a stained glass lampshade. That's, I'm going to put this down in a second and I'm going to stop. I'm like looking for ones that I don't want to give away too much. I'm going to stop. Do you guys have any questions before I keep going on? Because like I said, I've got a lot to chat about this time. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Magdalena, thank you. I just let my hair out of rollers like 5 seconds before the stream started and I brushed them out and they look so nice when you do that. But then if you start like moving around and going anywhere, they kind of just they get very quickly less impressive looking. But thank you. I went to California this last month and I have a funny story about that. So I had decided in the first few months of the year, I'm going to go on a few go to somewhere that's green and pretty to sort of help me deal with like the winter blues around here. And so I booked my ticket, had a whole plan to go visit my mom and my friend Darcy in LA. And I got my ticket, I packed everything. As I was going to the airport, there was a news thing about some fires that were starting. And I was like, oh, whatever, it's not a big deal. By the time I got there, it was a big deal, and it was kind of like getting worse by the minute. And so the whole like trip was kind of like filled with stress about that. And like I was able to go to LA and visit Darcy, and we went and had dinner with my mom. Her and my mom need to adopt each other because they get along like peas and carrots, and they just have, so from the minute I met Darcy, I think I told her, I was like, my mom's gonna like you. And I told my mom the same thing, and I was very right. So we went to the Magic Castle, which was really fun, and I loved it. Wait, hold on. Did I see something bad? Julia. Did I miss something? Oh no, I hope everyone's okay. I don't mean to be flippant, and I cannot find sometimes let's see. Julia, thank you so much for the distraction. Oh no. Oh no, Julia, I'm so sorry. Ugh. That's a horrible, it's one of those, you actually can't say something. I don't think there's a perfectly right thing to say, but I am so unbelievably sorry for that loss. Let me change the subject. I'm going to send you a message though, Julia. But let me look at my list of things to chat about. I think everyone's kind of like, ah. Let me see. Okay, so I talked about the gingerbread cookies. Did you guys like the secret compartment video? Because I think there's a few other things that I'm going to do around the house that have kind of that like trapdoor, hidden room kind of a thing. And I have a few really fun plans. Let me know if you like that. Oh, so while I was in California, the captive stayed here, and his brother, Eric, came in from Ohio to kind of keep him company. And Eric lives in like a pretty normal house. Like it's a beautiful like suburban house. And I guess one of the things that he told Grant while he was here, he's like, oh my God, if you leave something in one of the other rooms of this house, it's a whole trek to go and find, like it happens constantly because it's such a big house and you don't really live in all of it. But if you leave something downstairs and you go all the way upstairs and you're settling in and you realize you have to go back, it's like, and when we do projects, that happens constantly. So it's a whole thing, but it's something funny that I hadn't really thought about, because in the mountain house, if you left something downstairs, it's like a hop, skip, and a jump down to go get it. Oh, there was something I didn't bring in here. Okay, hold on. If the captive can hear me, there is a cookie jar on top of the china hutch in the kitchen. And if you could bring it to me, because I want to talk about it. Someone sent me something that I love so much, and I'm going to have to be really careful with it. Let's see. You probably forget where I forget constantly around here. We spend a horrifying amount of time running around looking for things. Sometimes you just give up. There's been times where I'm just like, I'm going to have to buy another one of those because who knows where that went. Okay, hold on one second. When I know he's coming, I'm going to flip the screen, and then I'm just going to magically be back and talking about something. Okay, how many rooms do I have left to make over? Kind of a lot, Caitlin. And I would say my goal for the next few months is to really kind of like, I want to do, oh, hold on one second. Okay, I'm ready. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm sorry, I meant to get this earlier. Love you. Okay. So hold on. Let me check. Hello. Okay. So this came maybe over the summer. I had done the lemon bar episode with all the pink and yellow Pyrex, and I received a box, and Mel, who's a patron, sent me this cookie jar, and I love it so much. I actually can't even believe I haven't mentioned it before now. It matches the Pyrex absolutely perfectly. And so I've had it prominently displayed in the kitchen since it arrived. And I've been meaning to say something about it. And oh my God, Mel, can we all agree that this is the cutest thing you've ever seen? I've never seen anything quite like it. And so I'm just going to have this until I'm like a decrepit old skeleton, and then somebody else will get it. I'm really excited. So thank you so much, Mel. I love this. Okay. How do you get and execute your aesthetic so perfectly? I don't think it's perfect, but I mean, I spend kind of a lot of time. Like this room took, I think, 3 months to get all of the weird little things. And then even just today, I was getting made up and I had rollers in and this robe on. And I asked the captive, I was like, should I just wear this robe in the live stream? And he was like, I think it's really fun looking. So accidents, I want to say, for some of it, and then also just being kind of persnickety about other things. Okay. I love this. Maybe I'll be buried with it. Obviously filled with cookies. Okay. What else do we have to chat about? Do you guys have any questions before I keep going on? What kind of cookie jar is it? I'm assuming it's porcelain. Ooh, Veronica, you bought a 1948 Cape-style house this last year. For one, congratulations. The electricity needs work. Let's see. Did your house need a lot of electrical work? Absolutely. So we moved in. It's kind of wild how much we've been able to do here. The electrical was pretty iffy. So we had to have, I think, 2 different people come in. The captive, luckily, does a ton of electrical stuff too. So he's contributed a bunch. There's a bazillion more outlets, new, I don't know that much about electrical, but boxes going on now. The house had no internet. It had never had internet. So a lot. I would say it's kind of like, if you're looking at getting an old house and you're kind of working with like a pretty limited budget, I would say pay attention to the roof almost before anything else. Because when we bought this place, I don't think I realized how much of an expense and how involved getting the roof repaired was going to be. And I would say everything else has been relatively easy until that. And thankfully the roof is now done and everything is wonderful. But it was such a hectic challenge to kind of figure out. What is my favorite part of the house? And also Grant's. That's a good question. If I had to guess, I think the library is the captive's favorite room. He's in his music studio mostly, but I know he likes the library. I like the library, like a lot of the rooms. I love that guest room, but I never ever go in there. So like the guest room just sits, the blinds are all shut in there. The door is closed unless somebody's visiting, because I don't want the pets to go in there and like mess it up. And I keep the blinds closed because I don't want anything like the sun bleaching out the antiques. So it's kind of like a tomb unless somebody comes to visit. I would say that's my favorite room just because I like how it came out. Am I still searching for a winter house? Sophia, I've kind of loosely been looking at houses in the south of France. I don't know how realistic that is, but like they have unbelievable houses there that are kind of out in the middle of nowhere and like really old, and there are houses there that don't cost a ton and put this house to shame. So I don't know if that's a realistic idea, but it is something I've been looking at. I need to learn French. That's kind of like a big part of that, I think. I I lit up my Duolingo again and started like fiddling with it once more. I've been trying to learn that language for a long time, but I haven't been super serious about it. Is it hard to be part-time foreign? That's not a question for me. That's a question for anyone here who's a part-time, I was going to say Frencher. I don't French woman, French person. Um, I'm trying to think. It just would be kind of fun, I think. And for me, I kind of view life as an adventure, and I like the idea of like doing something for a while and then just going and doing something completely different for a while. I don't really have, you know how some people like settle into a house and like that's their house forever? I don't know if I'm one of those people because I've never like settled into a house and stayed there for super, super long. Any travel plans? I don't think so at the moment. I'm actually mostly just excited to work on the house and kind of get some rooms transformed really quickly. French was the hardest subject in school. It's really tricky, but it's so beautiful. Eva Green is like one of my favorite actresses, and if you listen to her speak French, like that's what I would like to sound like, but I won't sound like that. How's the carriage house coming? Raina, it isn't going, it's nothing. It's just sitting there. It's very cold. It's so much work to keep up with this house, let alone take on like, but I mean, a half finished monster house is sitting in there. Okay. Any advice for those who want to follow in your footsteps, so to speak? Make art their life, having a day job is a real bummer. Well, okay, let's see. Is that Angie? So I've been in that position. I was doing office work for years, like I think almost 10 years. And I wasn't good at it, which was like, it's really, what do you call it? Life draining if you're doing something that you're not excited about. And there's plenty of office jobs you can do that you can actually like love and be involved in. But the best advice I can tell you if you're looking to like capture people's attention is get good at something that you don't see a lot of people focusing on, and that you have something, if you can contribute something unique that will stand out, that is the very best chance I think that you have of creating something that would be similar to how this worked out. Because this is just like a ridiculous dream come true. But I think so focus on obviously what you love doing. And it doesn't mean that you have to just totally branch off in a direction that nobody's ever gone in. It's just find the things that you're excited about and start evaluating what you've never seen done in that area. And keep true to your vision. I think James Jeffers is an amazing artist. I mention this every time I see one of your comments, James. But yeah, he's a person you should listen to because he does ridiculously amazing art. Yeah, I think that's the trickiest thing is like, I had a lot of people criticize me early on. It was fun. It was weird. It was, something happened at some point, and some of you may be able to relate to this. I went through a lot of my life where people felt confident in criticizing me to my face, which is so weird to me now because nobody ever does that to me anymore. And I would say you kind of just have to only take advice from people you really respect. I think that's one of the most wonderful things that I've sort of stumbled upon myself. I'm really careful who I take criticism from. My mom, I take criticism from my mom because she offers constructive criticism. So she's like, this is an issue I see, this is a solution. And also she has like a good vision for things. So I trust that in her. And so stick with that. And if you get people that are criticizing you and you're like, why are you criticizing? pay attention to that feeling. Oh, speaking of paying attention to your feelings, I did try to go horseback riding with my niece and my mom on that trip to California. And we went to a place and we all got on horses. And I think my mom and I got like the scraps because these horses didn't look super thrilled. And the horse I got on, I had a skirt on, but I had like pantaloons on to keep things nice and decent. But I got on this horse and my skirt was kind of billowing me around, and the guy who was wrangling things was like, "Oh, make sure your skirt doesn't like billow up. It can startle the horse, and she can like buck you off and throw you on the ground." And so I kept tucking it down and trying. He was like, "No, you're gonna have to do better than." I was like, "What are the odds of me getting thrown off a horse?" And he's like, "Well, I mean, it happens." I was like, I'm gonna go wait in the car. And so I got off the horse. There was something going on that I was like, don't do this. This is like, you don't want to get thrown off a horse and potentially like really hurt yourself. So if you get that feeling, feel free to like run off. So I went and sat in the car and they went off and had a fun adventure. By the way, this is sort of a funny story. I had press-on nails. I've never in my whole life put on press-on nails. I got some and I put them on maybe like an hour before this live stream, and they looked really pretty, but they were so foreign that I was like, oh, they look. I came down here, tested them on camera, and they looked good. But I was sitting here for a while and I was like, I can't function like this. So I went and soaked my fingers and popped them off. But they're really cool looking. Follow your instincts. Totally, Matt. As much as you possibly can. Oh, let's see. Let me go back to my really fun list of, because there's, ooh, do you guys remember the mermaid wallpaper that I designed 2 years ago? Quite a while ago now. The reason I didn't have it printed is because I created it and I decided I didn't like the colors. I had an issue with the colors. And so I have fiddled with different color schemes, and I think I finally found one that I'm really happy with. And so finally, I get to reach out to the people again and get that printed, because that room's got to get done up in the front. So that's actually in the works. So I'm really, really jazzed about that. I'm going to talk about something really exciting and really, I don't know if this could work. It's only an idea, and I'm going to throw it out there. It doesn't mean it's happening. It means it's an idea for something to happen, but I'd have to investigate it a whole lot more. What was I doing? I was looking at something, and all of a sudden the idea occurred. And maybe somebody has suggested this at some point and I just don't remember. It would be so fun to find like a Camp Crystal Lake, kind of like old, maybe like 80s or older campsite where they have like cabins and like rec rooms and all sorts of stuff. Find out about like renting one for like a long weekend, like 4 days, and doing something on here where I'd have to find out how many people would be interested in coming to do that. But basically having a craft weekend where we all get to like camp, like we're all like 13 again, and have some really fun time. And like we can just talk about ideas and share all sorts of things that we know and learn. And I'd want there to be like canoes and stuff. I don't know. And archery, or I don't know. I just think that would be like ridiculously fun to do. And I just have to research it a ton, find out about like liability issues in case anybody drowns intentionally or unintentionally. But I mean, that would be horrible, but my gosh, wouldn't that like make it a little bit more interesting? So yeah, that's kind of my idea. And I don't know if I don't know how you'd pick people, because if like a lot of people were up for it, I don't know, you'd have to figure it out some way. But I basically want it to be, if you wanted to do it, we could work it out. Um, Lots of camps in the Adirondacks. I don't think I knew that, Vicky. It'd have to look like Camp Crystal Lake. Like that would be the dream. I don't know. I had that idea. I talked about it with a captive. He thought it sounded really, really fun. Um, a murder mystery weekend, that would be the best. And we could all wear like fun, like Troop Beverly Hills, like costumes. I don't know. Which, by the way, speaking of costumes, has anyone here ever seen The Money Pit with Tom Hanks and Shelley Long? This robe makes me feel like Maureen Stapleton in the movie, where she's kind of this like fancy old lady who's like drinking and showing them around this like decrepit old manor. And so as soon as I put this on, I was like wandering around like pretending like I was her. Let's see. A lottery, then you could make an old-fashioned ball spinner. That sounds really, really awesome. I love them. I haven't seen the Money Pit in like years. Okay. You could bring your 1970s vintage camper, and the captive could dress up as like a serial killer. I want to say he'd be up for that, but I'm not entirely sure. Who here has seen the movie Flow? It's an animated movie. It's got like, it's new, and I generally don't watch animated movies. But it was so wonderful, I thought. It's kind of, I'm just sharing it in case you want to see something. It makes me cry. But I've watched it like 2 other times since the first time, and it is beautiful. There's a few stressful parts. Everything ends pretty well. But there are some stressful parts I have to like fast forward through because it's got a kitty in it. That's like the main character. Okay, let's see. Let me keep checking on my list because I know I've got more. This is I don't know how I'm going to tell this story because it's like a bad story. Years ago, this is a dicey thing to even chat about. Years ago, I had heard this expression, and it was somebody talking about like you can't fix every problem in the world, and it was like save the world, kill yourself. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. And I went and had dinner with some neighbors. The captive and I, we had just gotten married, and we were talking about something at this dinner. We just met these people, and randomly I threw that comment out there, and they looked kind of like startled, and I was like, oh, maybe. Later in the conversation, it turned out the man's son had done that at some point. And it was like, like everyone has those moments where you're like, oh my God, you want to pull your foot out of your mouth? It was that. But anyway, it's a comment I had said I told my mom that story. And so recently, my mom and I were talking, just like in a private phone call between us. And I was talking about something that was like stressing me. And she's like, well, it's like they say, save the whales, kill yourself. And I started laughing so hard because she did not realize what she had said. And so now she doesn't know it, but on her tombstone, it might say, save the whales, kill yourself. I don't know if that's too dark, but I'm telling you right now, I was like cackling and I almost couldn't stop laughing, like choking on the phone with her. So it was I was like, I'm going to make a note of that and I'm going to tell that kind of inappropriate story. Let's see. Oh my gosh. See, okay. So something that I think is so important to do, I'll tell you my mindset of how I pretty much like go through life. I am always feeling like I'm not doing enough and what I'm doing isn't impressive enough. And I'm constantly trying to, like I've been doing this for 5 years. And when a month is over, it's like, did I do good enough? I don't know. I feel stress that I'm not providing you guys with like enough. I live with that stress every single day, and I've had it since we started doing this because I like making people happy, and I worry about people being happy with what they're paying for and what I'm here to be doing. So anyway, I decided to go back through every episode that I had done over this last year, like live streams, episodes, two major things that happened that I haven't even been able to share with you guys. Like, so the monster house got half done. An entire roofing project that I did got done that you guys haven't seen. But it made me feel like, oh, okay, I'm feeling better. Like, because if you think about it, we did that awesome Valentine's Day live stream where I made like a little chocolate covered heart that made me retch. We've done an oil painting, like a pet one of buttons. We did and that was a live stream. We did a watercolor thing, a live stream of poof. And then just all of the episodes, I was like, oh, okay, so that's kind of a lot to do. And so if you ever feel like that about yourself, it's probably a good idea at the end of the year or whenever you feel like doing it to kind of scroll back through your pictures and see, like, because I think it is kind of like validating. You sort of go, oh, I'm doing better than I think I thought I was. It's a good way to kind of like reset your perspective. Let's see. I feel like we need a yearbook of McConnell magic that would be really fun. Angie, remember you're the person who suggested that because I think that's a really great idea. James says, I realized I made over 50 new illustrations last year. And I was like, I did that? That's kind of how I feel. Sometimes I do things, and this has always been the case. You get far enough away from it and you look back and you're like, it doesn't even feel like it's you who did it. You're like, how did I do that? Because it doesn't seem achievable if you're kind of far away from it. Let's see, like seeing everyone's art versus artist each year. Totally. Okay. Oh, Debbie, thank you so much. That means a lot to hear because I want you guys to all be happy. I want everybody to be happy. It's like the girl in Mean Girls that doesn't actually go to their school. And she's like, I just want everyone to have like a puppy or something and hold hands. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. That's secret. Oh, I was going to talk about, so I've talked about this. We have a murderer in the house and his name is Barnabas. And this is our little like dirty street cat that I love so much. And he kind of bounces around between who he likes more, the captive or me. But he's murdered a bat. Like he's actually murdered a couple bats. And he doesn't know that they're an endangered, like you're like a special, you can't touch the bats. He doesn't pay attention to that law. And so he's just like this vicious killer. And I play with him with like a feather on a string thing. And I play with all of the cats like that. And I noticed that there are two very distinctive hunting techniques that differ. Archimedes, my beefy diabetic little baby, and Barnabas, if you flick that thing around, they both will catch it very quickly. But Barnabas will like a razor, like so fast, he'll just fling his hand out, nab the little thing, and it's in his mouth and he's got it and he won't let go. I call him Chunk. Archimedes will run after it and literally throw his body weight onto it. And he does it so fast that it actually will pin like the feather or whatever. And so it's just kind of funny that like they're both very proficient hunters, but just one uses his girth to reel in his catch, and the other uses like his dexterity, which I thought was really cute. I'm gonna have to like get a video of that at some point. Use what you've got, Abigail, 100%. Let me check my list. Do you guys have any other questions before I keep going on? Did I tell you guys about the cat my mom saved with one eye? Did I talk about this? My mom's constantly saving a cat, but this story will make your blood boil, but the kitty is fine and everything's wonderful. There's something somebody got me that I don't have on hand and I don't know where it is, but in the next live stream, I'm going to talk about it. Okay, so so my mom she's got a lot of cats, and she's been excited sometimes when the numbers go down a little bit. You never want to lose animals, but having a lot of cats is stressful. And so she's done this forever. She accidentally found a mama cat and her kittens, and they're really, really cute. And they were feral, completely feral. And so I think there was some stressful situation in which she was like, she had to save them from what was going on. I don't remember. But basically, my mom was excited that she didn't have so many cats. And then all of a sudden, she had like 5 cats, including the mom. So now she's got a bunch of kittens, and they're all like, they were already kind of slightly older kittens. So they went from being like, oh my God, so adorable, to little like satanic monsters, like very quickly. They stay like that for like 2 years, and then they start turning into cats, the kind that I like. So anyway, she had to go get them all treated at the vet individually. This is gonna make you mad, by the way, but everything's fine. That's all that matters. She goes to the vet, and she's waiting at the checkout to like be seen, and there's a woman ahead of her. This woman has a like a cat carrying case with her, and she's having kind of like an argument or a dispute with the receptionist, and the receptionist is like, I'm sorry, we can't help you. We're not going to be able to do that. And the lady was, I don't know if something my mom said, I don't know if she said like, well, if you can't do it, I'll find somebody who will. And my mom heard just enough of this conversation to go, can I ask what's going on? And the woman was like, my grandmother died like a week ago, and this is her cat. And this cat is feral and kind of dangerous, and it's missing an eye, and I'm here to have it put down. And my mom was like, is it sick? And she was like, no. She's like, it's a feral cat. And the receptionist was basically telling her, like, we don't put down perfectly healthy cats. And my mom was like, do you mind if I take her? And my mom had to be nice to actual Lucifer, because this woman, her grandmother died. Probably she got all of her grandmother's stuff. And then she's going to take her grandmother's cat. And there's so many people that die that like shouldn't. And it's like, of anyone I've ever heard of who needs to get backed over in a Target parking lot, that lady is it. And so anyway, my mom came home with a new cat. And when my mom posted something online to see if like anybody would take it. This thing got shared like 1,000 times, and nobody came and took this kitty. And my mom's got a lot of cats, but she's gonna keep this cat and take care of it. So I went to go visit them. This happened, I think, in December. And so I went and visited them. This is the sweetest cat. She's a little sweet, delicate girl. She's young. She's probably like 2 or 3. Oh my God, the sweetest cat. I'm going to have to post a picture of her because she's wonderful. So my mom's going to keep her. She's a wonderful, happy little kitty. If anyone wants a one-eyed cat that's incredible and wonderful and black and white, message me and I'll set you up with chatting with my mom. But if that doesn't happen, my mom's just got this like adorable, sweet cat. And it's a sweetheart. I actually wanted to bring it home, and I was sending pictures to the captive. He's like, we have 6 animals. You have to stop. Like there has to be a cutoff somewhere. I was like, oh, okay. It is true. Like you do get to a point where it's hard to give the kind of love each of them deserves. If you get too many. And so it is kind of, he's not wrong, but I really liked that cat. Use your privilege to get pets adopted. I think that's a great idea. Okay, my captive is the same at this point, Veronica. I know if the captive were to die, it would very quickly turn into a zoo around here. He's kind of my governor, or like the person that like stops me from doing like things that will eventually, because you can go to any pound and bring home every animal they have, and will save them, but it also can kind of like ruin your own life. So just do as much as you can, but also don't feel like you have to like solve all of the world's problems. Let's see. Do you have one of those fancy litter boxes that cleans itself? Allison, we did, and Barney wouldn't use it. And so we had to switch litters and all sorts of other things to get Barnabas, my little trash cat, to use it. And then all of the other cats were like, oh, we're done with the electronic one. We're going to the old-fashioned one. So now all of the cats use the old-fashioned litter box. And it is what it is. But it was nice when they were using the electrical one. Hoping the little one finds a forever home. Oh, Erin, that's so nice. She's in a forever home, and my mom loves cats, but it would just, you know, have a vision for like, you'd want somebody that only maybe had a few and like could really incorporate this one, and it could get all of the affection and attention you'd want it to have. Let's see. Your mom sounds like, Lori, thank you so much. Your mom sounds like a wonderful person. She is a wonderful person. She's actually a much nicer person than me in some ways. I'm meaner in some ways, and she's meaner in some ways. And then the opposite is true. I will eat a dead bug at a restaurant before I tell them to take my plate back. And my mom will instantly tell somebody if she's got like an issue. I never ever want to upset anybody. But then also at the same time, like if I knew I wasn't going to get caught and I could back over that lady with the cat, like I would do that. I mean, don't tell anybody, but I don't know. I'm kidding for legal purposes. Do you guys have any other questions before I further incriminate myself? Okay, there's a couple things I did not bring out that I'm going to have to hold off for our next live stream. I'm trying to think. Oh, I'm not going to share that story. That's a I'm going to save that for next one. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up, but I did want to say one little quick thing. If you are somebody who is stressed right now and is feeling like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, because I feel like that too, and you're having an upset moment, go to YouTube and watch fail episodes of, or like fail videos of people having goofy little accidents. I think it's like America's Funniest Home Videos. It's just goofball things happening. And I started watching them yesterday because I kind of got like a little bummed. And if you watch those, it reset my perspective on realizing like how it's similar we all are, because there just feels like there's so much division and it's so ugly. And I know we're not that different of people. And it was a really wonderful thing that kind of just like refreshed my feelings of like, we're all kind of in this together. So anyway, I hope you are all doing wonderful. Julia, I'm going to send you a message. I hope you're doing okay. And until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you again very soon.